Hi, I'm Jonah Comstock, Editor-in-Chief of pharmaphorum. I'm here with Sam Possemiers, CEO of MRM Health. We're at JP Morgan. It's day 3. We're actually at the Biotech Showcase right now. Tell me about your show so far, Sam. Tell me about MRM.
So MRM Health, a Belgian biotech company, phase 2B stage in ulcerative colitis and preparing for phase 3 in an orphan indication pouchitis. We are a live biotherapeutics company, which means that we develop drugs based on the microbiome. So we use bacteria from the healthy individual to treat patients with mostly inflammatory disorders.
So microbiome is one of those areas that you always feel like it's about to kind of break through, but it still very much kind of feels like it's on the fringe of biotech. How long have you been in that space, and what do you think is the potential there of the future?
No, that's certainly true. And myself, I've been working on the microbiome for more than 20 years now. So actually longer than the field exists. Already 20 years ago, we saw the potential of the microbiome. But we can't forget that the field on its own really is only around about 10, 12 years young. So it's really a novel field, and it's not different than any other novel field. That in the beginning, you need to try a number of different things. Not everything will work. Some things will fail. And that it's only after a number of attempts that you can really get to the final technology which will make the difference. And we see that in microbiome, there were a lot of companies with high expectations which could not necessarily deliver on the promise. And it's only now, and we're also one of those, that the second or third or fourth generation of companies really is able to crack the code and turn microbiome really into a drug. And I think that's by the fact that we have promising phase 2A data, that we're now setting up phase 2B and a phase 3, that we're really able to live up to that promise and turn microbiome into a real drug application.
Tell me a little bit about your kind of differentiator. What's the secret sauce? What makes your therapy work?
Now, first of all, microbiome is not just one product, one type of product, and that's also a common thing that people think microbiome, it's all the same. No, there are a lot of different approaches. I think what we want to do is we want to develop a very specifically designed therapeutic where each of the bacteria that is in the drug is really targeting key disease mechanisms. So it starts with being able to identify which of those bugs really matters in a certain disease, which can tackle the right disease mechanisms. But then, and that's where we mostly differentiate, you still need to be able to turn that into a drug. You may have very interesting bacteria, but if you can't manufacture them, if you can't formulate them, if you can't deliver them to the patient in a convenient way, it at the end of the day is only a theory about what could work, but not that you can make happen. And so what we developed is a technology to go all the way from isolation of the right bacteria from the healthy intestine to identifying which bacteria really make the difference in a specific disease, and then combining those bacteria and mastering the whole CMC process up to a very convenient formulation. And that's the biggest differentiator, is we work with products composed of multiple live bacteria in one product, but we can manufacture all those bacteria together in one single manufacturing step. We dry them all into one single powder, and we can formulate that one powder into one single capsule that the patient then needs to take. And that really simplifies and I don't know if it's a word, drugifies, turns the microbiome into a real drug with a scalable manufacturing, fully GMP controlled, with a delivery strategy where the patient just needs to ingest a small size 1 capsule, so a small capsule, 1 capsule per day at breakfast, and has a very convenient oral delivery strategy. And that's where I also see the big evolution of the field. It's no longer almost artisanal application. It really turned into a full GMP standardized controlled drug with a defined delivery strategy and a reproducible manufacturing, so that you can, over long periods of time, each time give the same product to the different patients.
You said you're in phase 2B.
2B.
What does the timeline look like? When do you expect phase 3? When do you expect to make it to the clinic?
Yeah. So we were happy to be able to announce last week that we have the IND approval here in the US. So we're in full startup mode in the US, activating the sites. We hope to be able to screen the first patients still this quarter. and then to start the trial beginning of Q2 26, with then the data readouts around Q4 27. So, which is quite aggressive already. So before the end of 27 to have a 200 patient trial in ulcerative colitis completed, so that we can really move forward with the product. So the phase 2b is the main target for the coming years, but at the same time we see the potential based on early clinical data we also gathered in an orphan indication, pouchitis, which is kind of a rare disease within the IBD family, to set up a phase 3 study there and really move this product even to the market by 2029.
Great. What have you heard or seen so far at the show that's been interesting to you? What are you thinking about the year to come in pharma and biotech?
I always like to come here. It's of course quite a big travel coming all the way over from Europe, but it's an extremely dynamic environment, and you see this every year at JPM. The sky looks bright every year at the beginning of the year, but I have the feeling that there is really something moving again in the biotech pharma investor world. It looks, if of course the macro economical etc context stays stable, that we are really back on a path forward with more deals, more investments, and ultimately also more IPOs happening. And you see that belief is really there at the different levels here at JPM.
Great. Thank you so much, Sam.
You're welcome. Thank you.